moderators today. So, I would like to begin with strong and inspiring words said by Malala, that glorious woman whom we're celebrating today on the occasion of Malala Day, right? We cannot succeed, we cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. We are here to celebrate her today because she is not just an inspiration for that matter, she has changed the world around us. She has a heart and she has been the heart and soul of every movement and every feminist movement that we have been part of. And she was the very start, she was one of the people who brought change into our society. And today, the topic for us is changing the role of women in changing the world of work. And this woman really holds a great significance in that. There is something so special about a woman who dominates in a man's world. It takes a certain grace, strength, intelligence, fearlessness, and nerve to never take no for an answer. And yes, I'm quoting Rihanna here. In the topic in the room today is the role of women in changing the world of work. It's the 21st century and women are rising in all fields as they should. But this world is constantly changing and so are women and their ideologies. It's extremely important for all of us to voice our opinions and talk about our emotions as this world is changing and it's a crucial issue to talk about. Thank you. And it's over to you, Diksha. Ma'am, please speak.
Yeah, the role of women in the changing world of work. The world is forever changing, and women have always played a part in it. We have all read about countless contributions of women, be it in our history, political science, economics, or science textbooks. Women have always had a major impact. From the French Revolution to the freedom struggle in India, great daughters of the nations have always played their part. Do you see why it is important to discuss the topic? Apart from this, it is very important that we recognize the hand of women in our lives, in science, in the working of our nations, in everything. I'm so glad to be here to listen to all of your wonderful opinions and witness the revolutionary young mind, such as yours. Today is recognized because of the contribution of one great woman, but every day, thousands of women like her fight unknown battles. We are here to honor all of them and their role of the changing in the changing world. Now let's give a hand for our wonderful speakers. Also, like we will start with a musical note, inviting on stage Advita Srivastav, who will lift your minds to a cloud of rhythm and melodies. Like I will like to invite Advita ma'am. Isn't Advita ma'am here?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. Unfortunately, my webcam decided to stop working right before, so I'm really sorry that I won't be able to turn my video on. But I hope that's not really that much of a problem. So my name's Advita, guys. I'm in class 11th and I'm from New Delhi. I've been performing for about a few months in the online circuit itself, and just a big thank you to Diksha for inviting me to this event, and I'm really excited to see what the turnout is. So I don't really have that many songs for you guys today, just 2 to 3, and I'll start with the first one now. Can you guys hear the guitar? Is everything fine? Okay, great. फिर ले आया दिल मजबूर क्या कीजे रास लाया रहना दो क्या कीजे हो दिल कह रहा उससे मसलसल कर भी आओ, वो जो अधूरी सी यादें बाकी है, वो जो अधूरी सी आस बाकी है, वो जो अधूरी सी आस बाकी है. And yeah, that was the first song. It's called Fidle Adil by Rekha Bharadwaj. I hope you guys like that. Yeah, sorry.
No, ma'am, go ahead.
Thank you so much. The second song is called the second one is called Kho Gaye Hum Kahan. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this. It's kind of popular. Uh, is that audible then?
Yeah, ma'am, you audible.
Okay, cool. रूह से बहती हुई धुन ये इशारे दे, कुछ मेरे राज तेरे राज आवारा से, खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ, खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ, तेरे मेरे रास्ते हैं जादुई इमारतें हैं, मैं भी हूँ तू भी है यहाँ, खोई सोई सड़कों पे सितारों के कंधों पे हम नाचते उड़ते हैं यहाँ, खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ, खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ. सो गई है ये सांसें सभी, अधूरी सी कहानी मेरी, फिसल जाऊं भी तो डरना कोई, रुक जाने की जरूरत नहीं, कागज के पर्दे हैं ताले हैं दरवाजों पे, पानी में डूबे हुए ख्वाब अल्फाजों के, खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ, खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ, तेरे मेरे रास्ते हैं जादुई इमारतें हैं, मैं भी हूँ तू भी है यहाँ, खोई सोई सड़कों पे सितारों के कंधों पे हम नाचते उड़ते हैं यहाँ, खोई सोई सड़कों पे सितारों के कंधों पे हम नाचते उड़ते हैं यहाँ. That was my second song. Is it possible to maybe get a few videos on? I mean, I know mine's not on myself, but it'll just make it a bit more interactive, if possible. Hello, Shaurya sir. Long time no see. Okay. Thank you so much to everyone who's doing so. Again, really sorry that I can't turn my own on. But yeah, this next song I have for you guys is one of my personal favorites, but this is the first time I'm performing it. So hopefully you guys like it. But yeah. शाम भी कोई जैसे है नदी लहर लहर जैसे बह रही है कोई अनकही कोई अनसुनी बात धीमी धीमी कह रही है कहीं ना कहीं जागी हुई है कोई आरज़ू कहीं ना कहीं खोए हुए से है मैं और तू कि बुम 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 परा है खामोश दोनों कि बुम 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 परा है मदहोश दोनों जो गुमसुम है फिजाएं जो कहते सुनते हैं निगाहें गुमसुम है फिजाएं है ना हा, 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 सुहानी सुहानी है ये कहानी जो खामोशी सुनाती है जिसे तूने चाहा होगा वो तेरा मुझे वो ये बताती है मैं मगन हूँ पर न जानू कब आने वाला है वो पल जब हौले हौले धीरे धीरे खिलेगा दिल का ये कमल कि बूम 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 परा है खामोश दोनों कि बूम 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 परा है मदहोश दोनों जो गुमसुम है फिजाएं जो कहते सुनते हैं निगाहें गुमसुम है फिजाएं है ना हा 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 ये कैसा समय है कैसा समा है कि शाम है पिघल रही कि सब कुछ हंसी है सब कुछ जवा है जिंदगी मचल रही जगमगाती झिलमिलाती पलक पलक पे ख्वाब है सुन ये हवाएं गुनगुनाए जो गीत लाजवाब है कि बूम 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 परा है खामोश दोनों कि बूम 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 परा है मदहोश दोनों जो गुमसुम है फिजाएं जो कहते सुनते हैं निगाहें गुमसुम है फिजाएं है ना yeah and I think that was my last song for you guys today unless there's any request if is there time Diksha
Yeah.
okay if you guys have any requests you can put them in the chat box and I'll try my best to Mola. I unfortunately I haven't really prepared that song yet, so um, I barely know it. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I can do Barisha. Okay. Mm, 1 second. Okay. Hole se धीमे से मुझको बाहों में भर लो ना तुम नर्म सी सांसों में मुझको बाहों में भर लो ना तुम सुन जरा मेरे पास आ अब बैठे हैं हम भी यहाँ दिल के दरमियाँ बारिशें हैं तेरी ही बातों पे मैंने सजा ली है दुनिया यहाँ दिल के दरमियाँ बारिशें अब तू आती है बुलाती है बिस्तर से यूं गिराती है ये सो मैं बाहों में बस तेरी जब बारिशें बरसती है पागल जैसे थिरकती है तुम जैसी हो बस वैसी ही रहो अब तेरे बिना यहाँ मेरी सांसें जैसे बिना निंदिया की रातें हैं तो और तू ही मेरे दिल की रज़ा है तेरे बिना दिल भी खफा है तो तेरी आँखों का काजल ना फैले और कभी तुझे इतना प्यार दूँ तेरी खुशियों की खातिर ये दुनिया में मेरी एक पल में वार दूँ अब बिखरी तेरी ये जुल्फों पे आंखें तेरी जब दिखती है दिखता है मुझे वो आसमां के खोल पंख मैं मेरे उड़ जाऊं खो जाऊं मैं एक बार में बदल दूं ये जहां I don't remember the rest. But yeah, that was Barishe. If there's any other requests, I think.
Thank you so much, Advita. This was indeed very beautiful and soulful to listen to you, and I personally enjoyed it. And I, being a Anujan fan, I think so. Adarsh Bhaiya being same, so that's why he recommended Mola and Barishe, and these were really soulful. Diksha, I would request you to carry on with the proceedings further.
Yeah, before the music escapes your mind, I would like to give the stage to our guest speakers to delight us with their motivating words. Let's welcome a wonderful political strategist and social worker with lots of experience in a number of different fields, Miss Preeti Pandya. The stage is all yours, ma'am.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
So first of all, thank you for inviting me. Without wasting even a minute, I'd be talking about the role of women in the changing world of work. To begin with, in a nutshell, globalization, deglobalization, digital innovation, climate change, among all the other factors, they continue to change the world in which we work. posing both a challenge as well as opportunities in realizing full potential of women's economic growth for a better tomorrow. So today, being a policy strategist, I see that these strategies, the policies, which companies, corporates, and policymakers are designing to address need to change so that we have a nature of work which is more inclusive, which focuses more on the gender lens, and not only for women but for trans women as well, for transgender, and to be more inclusive in a way that if so that they foster the economic empowerment of the world. So today I'll be exploring some of these sections and how they're positioned at the moment and where women stand right now. So I'll begin with women in fintech, artificial intelligence, sciences, and businesses. So automation, artificial intelligence, robotics, and the internet, among other technological developments, they've transformed the world. Fair enough, um, posing both a challenge and opportunities for women in terms of economic empowerment. Um, Globally, only 1 in 3 businesses are owned by women. Only 6.2% of women own established businesses as compared to 9.5% of men. In future, we know that emotional intelligence will increasingly become like an asset for fintech companies, for corporates, from winning over investors to interviewing prospective employees to successfully connecting with customers. And it's said that given the traditional association of women and emotional intelligence, we need more women in this industry. So one must believe that if we need to promote young women, we need to bring women from different cultural backgrounds. And we need to believe that, providing an environment where women have new ideas, innovations should be nurtured. When we talk about women in labor market, there's a very high estimate that female to male labor force participation reveals that female participation is 32%, which is very less. And it's noteworthy that the global female labor force participation has increasingly, marginalized in the recent years, especially after COVID. That is gradually intensifying opportunities for women to enter like remunerated work, especially. And however, the difference in labor market condition across the countries result in disparities of working conditions. When we when we talk about pay, the equal access and opportunities, it's fairly low. And according to the World Economic Forum, the global average annual earning of women, they have increased 83%, which sounds good. But when we realize that for men it has increased 91%, it sounds dull. So the absolute figures, they continue to indicate a substantial gap in the earnings. Then informal work. So women, particularly, migrant women, they're overrepresented in the informal sector around the globe. In developing countries, the informal work is primary source of employment for women and for undeveloped countries as well. So globally, women comprise 63% of these workers who are employed without direct pay in family businesses or farms, etc. And the informal economy, also known as the gray economy, it falls out of picture without any doubt. So there needs to be labor law, which promote women, and labor laws, they wouldn't leave many exposed to low pay, unsafe working conditions, etc. And especially without social benefits such as pension, sick pay, insurance, etc. Poor working conditions in informal economy, they're kind of less exaggerated by labor discrimination, sexism, racism, xenophobia, etc. When we talk about informal work in the household, like cooking, cleaning, fetching water, firewood, in the traditional areas, taking care of children, elderly, women bear a disappropriate burden of unpaid work across the world. This means that unpaid work supports the economy and often fills in for lack of public expenditures, considering that all these things that women do are paid at some point of the night. We have domestic helpers, right? They get paid. This means it can contribute more to the economy than manufacturing, commerce, transportation sectors. Besides, men take like a greater share in and policies that there are a lot of policies that kind of reduce the redistribution for women, all of their attributes which are characterized, saying that these belong to women. Now, after talking about all these sectors, something that is very important and that makes women like an exclusionary property is violence against women workers. So violence against women in the world of work, is the human right violation, but and women do experience harassment and sexual assault in one way or the other. While many countries they have laws and provisions to like address such violences, their impact is limited, and there's a very high chance that this may create a significant impact on their physical and mental health, which can lead to missed promotions and job losses. When countries give women greater opportunity to participate in economy, the benefits extend from individual girls, women, but also to economies. So I think that could be used as an asset for the other gender. Addressing gender gaps and assessing good quality jobs is not just like a right thing to do, but I feel it's also smart economics. um, a recent study clearly showed that raising labor participation of women as compared to men has resulted in a GDP increase in these states by 5%, in UAE by 12%, and in Egypt by 34%. So let's be honest, the politicians they do care about GDP more than women. Now it is even more critical to focus on quality of jobs to which women have access to. If these jobs are to be transformative for women empowerment, especially having good quality jobs that are stable, decent, secure, and productive is especially important for like gender perspective, because women are more likely than men to be overrepresented in low paying, part time, informal, and low productive jobs. They tend to run enterprises like in a less productive sectors and are more likely to do part-time temporary jobs and just for the sake of it. So women are particularly concentrated in the more invisible activities such as domestic labor and unpaid work. So now there's like as a concluding remark, there's a growing consensus on women's economic empowerment, which is necessary to drive the global growth and sustainability. Yet, governments and companies around the world have done little to respond to how the changing nature of work will impact women differently from men. Um, Reducing constraints and ensuring equitable access to quality jobs for women will be required to focus will be required, and um, it will require a long-term commitment from both public and private sectors, which should result in a greater payoff for growth, development, and shared prosperity for all, but especially for women. So, thank you.
You sure have a way with words, ma'am. It was delightful listening to you. Next, we have Priyanshu sir. He's an aspiring student with the dream of developing valuable skills in others. As a way of giving back to the society, will share their thoughts with us. Priyanshu sir, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me. First of all, it was again lovely hearing Preeti for the n number of time again. I mean, so about the topic today. Um, a very brief remark as to I'll continue from where what Preeti was also emphasizing upon, and something that we need to understand today. The topic that's here, rightly been framed, was also, as we would recall, the theme of the World International Women's Day in the year 2017, and focused upon this topic that we don't need just jobs for women. We need better jobs for women. Um, we just don't. So if we see women are more and for that matter, the idea of when we talk about this idea of feminism, we look for equality, not in terms of just respecting each other, but also in terms of representation, in terms of jobs, in terms of employment. And when it comes to it, we just don't need jobs for women. We need better jobs for women. So if we see the demographics there, women are represented in invisible or underpaid jobs, and invisible jobs would mean jobs like domestic labor and all of these things, especially in a country like India. What we need is where what we need is to create an environment where we can have better jobs for women, more, not just more paying jobs for women, also jobs with decent standard of living. And in light of that, let's also understand how women are represented in the media. So when we talk about the media industry in general, and the major the news anchors that we see are men. I mean, let's go ahead and see that all, and very few of the female anchors that we also see. And when they're talking about this idea of men and women comparison in terms of them being represented in jobs, etc., it's again a very binary idea, so as something I believe. But moving beyond that, still when we talk about women generally being represented in jobs like media now, particularly something I find very not so interesting is that, and this is something when I also talk about media bias and criticize the media, the Indian media in in any of the sessions or talks I give, is something I mentioned that there is this particular channel where you would see, early in the morning doing news anchors doing yoga with Baba Ramdev, so as to say. Now, the idea is, why is it that when we have these tasks which no one else would, we have these female anchors doing these tasks. Like there was one news anchor, and this show has been going for a year now. There was one news anchor before who was doing yoga with Baba Ramdev. Now there are two. So the thing is, and both of them are female. So here is the point. Women have to make their way into the media industry also, for that matter of fact, with a lot more hardship than men do. And in light of that, they have to also sustain their jobs. Consider today that your boss at this news channel says that we are launching a new yoga show, etc., let's say, and you have to do yoga on sitting on the studio floor, where I don't think this is what they might have studied their degree in journalism for. This is not something they've joined the channel for, right? But when the channel wants to launch something, and the burnt of this comes on a person who has work harder for their job, and wants to keep them harder than their male counterpart, for that matter. So all I'm trying to highlight is, we don't just need jobs for women. We need equality, in the sense where we provide better jobs to women, and that will come with the that will come that's evolving, obviously evolving. But the whole idea that in the world we live in today, the whole idea that's being flaunted, that women are getting more jobs, women are being more represented, etc., 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 it's not true. If you look around, they're more to they're more focused in these invisible, underpaid, um, not so good jobs, is something, the idea we also need to change. And they should not have to work, they should not have to struggle to fight for equality in jobs and employment, as comparison to their male counterpart. It should be a natural, it should be a given. We should not have been discussing it today. It should be a natural that regardless of the gender you're born in, you should be getting jobs based on your merit and not on your gender. So I mean, the whole topic in itself, I find very not so okay, that we sadly live in a world where we have to discuss this today. So in light of this, I also say that there's hope, there's change coming, but it will come. But when we all are aware, and we all do not accept things as given, and we understand that whatever there is a little problematic, and we need to see and keep on pointing out wherever possible. So with this, I will stop, and I would love to hear other guest speakers. Thank you. This is all from my side.
Wonderful thoughts. So, like we would like to welcome Ankita ma'am, a writer by passion and profession who connects people to the right opportunities. I'm sure they have a whole lot of compassionate words for our participants.
Hello. Hi, guys. Thankful to all of you for having me for today. And I loved whatever Priyanshu and Preeti said this day, that this word will stay with me now, that women need to have better jobs. Because I wanted to start with my own experience today, that because I have been through, all trials and hits and trials in my own career journey. So first, I'll just give a brief about what I have done. So I've done my engineering in IT sector, and I joined Infosys as a Java developer, but I always wanted to be a writer. So one day I just decided, that I'll quit and I'll become a full-time writer.
And little did I know that this is going to be something not an easy step, first of all, because I never knew what writers have, what are the opportunities that are available, and especially being a woman, you have to be extremely secure in whatever steps that you take. So you cannot just roam around and apply to any XYZ job. So I started working in a startup, and I'll start giving you examples of exactly what used to happen. So this was the first startup where I joined as a content writer for them. And there were just 2 female employees in the entire startup, and it was a startup of 50 employees. Being the only, not the only, but the second female employee, uh, there were a few incidents that kept happening. And those incidents, we cannot call them sexual harassment, but those were called official harassment things. Like, sometimes there used to be some catchphrases being spoken there. Sometimes my water bottle was not on my desk, and a few similar incidents started happening. And that's when I realized that, they're trying to poke me. And one day I just wrote an email to the CEO of the startup. And the next day, it was Sunday, I vividly remember that. And I received my resignation on WhatsApp, not even on email. I received it on WhatsApp. And that's when I realized that you should not have spoken what's happening to you, because I've just dwelled into some stream that is new, and I do not have any experience, I do not have any education in that stream, and now I have to bear the wrath of it. But yeah, again, I started working in different streams. So now comes the second part of it, where what happens is I started working as a technical writer. And when I started working as a technical writer, I realized again the percentage of women in technical fields vary a lot. Like, I started working as a technical writer where we just had, again, 2 female employees out of the 10 male employees in the team. So, and again, I switched streams. Now I'm working at Google as a community manager with their developer relations team. And it's again a technical team. So now when I look, the entire dev ecosystem, and it's not just about India. Again, I'm going to tell you, this is not just about India. The team of which I'm part at Google right now is a global dev ecosystem team. And if we check the ratio, the female percentage in the dev ecosystem team is almost just 20% to as compared to the 80% male employees that we have. And whenever I'm very extremely active on LinkedIn. So whenever I try to post something on, developer relations or technical expertise, I just have such less percentage of women involvement. And I wish I could see more women coming up. That's when this point comes into picture, when they say, when the other speakers said about better jobs. That's when I want to see more percentage of women getting, uh, doing what they love. Especially, I think that's the point to emphasize, that doing what you love. You have to be extremely rebellious, I must say, because I remember my parents telling me back when I was leaving Infosys, that's a stable job. Why are you leaving such a good IT job? And that's when I told that. I didn't even tell them before leaving. And I realized that you have to be extremely rebellious when you have to take such steps. So it's all, the onus has to be taken by a woman herself when you need to know that you have to take this for yourself. So do whatever you feel you're happy with, but try doing different streams. If there are, women, I can see a lot of females here as well. So do what you love and try making a name for yourself in that field. This is something I've done, and this is what I wish to see globally. So thank you so much.
And the evening becomes so beautiful with your each word, ma'am. And now we would like to welcome others, sir, a public speaker with the dream of spreading the true idea of quality education and perspective building. With their impactful words to set the mood even better. Over to you, others.
Thank you so much, Diksha, for such a lovely introduction. I don't know if my words will be impactful or not. I think so. The job has already been done by Preeti ma'am, Ankita ma'am, and definitely Priyanshu sir. So I don't know how much I can add to. That is the reason I hate going last. Most of the things are always already said. How the one thing which I would really want to talk about is the 5x5 rule, which I generally look up to a lot. This is something which you would have also seen on social media, that if something does not concern you in the next 5 years, do not give 5 seconds thinking about it, right? How the whole idea is, something like this, an issue like this definitely concerns you, right? It concerns me, it concerns you, it concerns everyone. ऐसा तो नहीं, लेकिन आज लोगों को कंसर्न होना स्टार्ट हुआ इस टॉपिक की डिस्कशन के साथ, कहते हैं हम एकदम से लगा ओ दिस इज अ प्रॉब्लम. ऐसा तो नहीं, दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच वी हैव कहते फेल्ट फ्रॉम अ लॉन्ग टाइम. द आइडिया इज 5 साल पहले भी लोगों को लगा होगा, राइट? 5 years before also people talked about the same thing, how this is an issue, how people don't talk about it, how this is unfair. After 5 years we're still talking about it. आज से 5 साल बाद भी बोलते रहेंगे. And that is probably the most unfair part, and that is probably the most saddest part. However, the whole idea is when we say that others are making it unfair, others are that they are doing it. वो they कौन है? After 5 years, you will be the part of they जिनकी बात हो रही है. तो अगर कहते हैं 5 साल बाद अगर कोई और आता है और कहते हैं शौर्य या फिर कहते हैं अंकिता एम्बी, she comes and says कि हाँ the scene has not changed, everything is pretty much the same, then you are to be blamed. As simple as that. Because the idea is life is unfair. I say this everywhere. I said this multiple times in June everywhere, that life is unfair. However, what I generally do not say in front of it is that life is unfair, and the people who do not realize that life is unfair are probably the ones who are making it unfair for you. Let it just sink in. This is what I personally believe. And you can't give me any explanation कि नहीं हमने तो कुछ नहीं किया. You did not do anything was part of a problem. You ignoring was always a part of the problem. We talk about there were some beautiful facts told about like by Preeti ma'am. Just try to relate those facts with the life you have around you. आपके आसपास अब कितने लोगों को देख रहे हो, कहते हैं जैसे तरीके से प्रांशु सर also talked about better jobs. How many people do you see around you? Do not मत जाओ ना फैक्ट्स पे अगर आपको लग रहा है कि नहीं फैक्ट्स पे आप रिलेट नहीं कर पाए. See around yourself. How many people do you actually कहते हैं look up to? If you do, amazing. That means that you're being brought up in a good environment. However, if you do not, and you're like ठीक है हमारी लाइफ तो ऐसी ही है, then you're ignoring it, right? Aren't you? The idea is considering that I'm probably the youngest one here in the panel. I think so everyone is in their 23, 24. तो मैं सबको यहाँ पे बूढ़ा बोलूँगा, ठीक है ना? I am the only one 20, 21. But yeah, the whole idea is, I personally believe that this stems from our younger education itself, like our primary education, where a lot of focus is generally given to all of the things which are written in the book. बुक में लिखा है कि हाँ इक्वालिटी होनी चाहिए, बट एक्चुअली में इक्वालिटी कहते हैं गोज बियॉन्ड जस्ट टू जेंडर्स, कोई नहीं समझाता. द प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम देयर. द प्रॉब्लम डज नॉट स्टार्ट कि किस तरीके से लोग बाद में रिएक्ट करते हैं. द प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट कि जहां पे चीजें गलत तरीके से सिखाई जा रही है, नो वन इज डूइंग एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. कोई इंसान कहते हैं राइट ही है, बट बिकॉज टीचर को कहते हैं बहुत ज्यादा, कोई इंसान लेफ्ट ही है, बट बिकॉज टीचर को समझ नहीं आ रहा तो जबरदस्ती राइट ही बना दिया बिकॉज इट वॉज मोर कन्वीनियंट फॉर द टीचर. The idea is you'll come across a lot of instances like this. So what can we do about it? Because obviously problem तो मैंने बता दी है, तो सबको पता थी. फिर दोबारा ये होगा कि 5 साल बाद कोई आएगा और बोलेगा कि हाँ life is unfair. The idea is next time whenever you get an opportunity, try to do your bit. I personally believe so. I would really like to thank the whole team of Gola for inviting me here. It's a beautiful panel, honestly. Some of the most amazing people I could have actually been invited to in a panel with this. I personally know Priyanshu sir and Preeti. Ankita ma'am, I'm hearing for the first time, so definitely an amazing panel. The idea is they are doing their bit, right? In whatever way possible. Doing your bit does not mean कि आप जाके class में पढ़ो. नहीं. It means if you feel that something is wrong, you speak up about it, because speaking up about something takes a lot of courage. A lot. I can just say कि किस तरीके से गलत है. However, not even one person can I imagine what women actually go through. I can talk about definitely हाँ किस तरीके से गलत है. However, I don't think so that in anything which I say would do justice to what women actually go through. People, अब मेरे को ये किसी ने बहुत पहले समझाया था कि जनरली आप लोगों ने नोटिस किया होगा whenever we talk about कि किस तरीके से लड़कियों के साथ ऐसा कुछ गलत हो रहा है, तो फिर कोई आके बोलता है कि लड़कों के साथ भी तो गलत होता है. The whole idea is कि किस तरीके से when you're talking about one thing, Instead of focusing on it, you decided to कहते हैं shift the attention to something else. Won't lie, few years ago even I had that कि नहीं यार ऐसा थोड़ी होता कि सिर्फ कहते हैं लड़कियां सफर करती है, लड़के भी तो सफर करते हैं. Someone corrected me, made me think. That is the whole idea of it. जब तक सोचोगे नहीं, because the for inside your mind, if you're not talking about it, if you're not speaking up about it, you'll have a perception which you believe in. That's it. Until someone talks to you about it, even in normal casual conversations, you keep on thinking that way. The whole idea is that हमने तो मना नहीं किया ना कि फिर ऐसा तो कभी नहीं हुआ ना कि फिर कहते सेलिब्रेटिंग इंटरनेशनल वुमेन डे तो एकदम से कोई आपके आगे बोलता है हाँ इंटरनेशनल वुमेन डे भी तो होता है. सो व्हाई डू यू डू इट द अदर वे? So I personally believe that part of the problems, irrespective of you want to talk about it, it's unfair. Honestly, this is the only thing. This is the only thing I can say. It's unfair right from the start, right from the school to the education to college to universities to workplace to families, every place. And as I said in the beginning, if you don't see it unfair, if you find that my words were very normal, the idea is simple as that. आपके लिए normal है, शायद से आपको नहीं लगता unfair. बट क्या आप दूसरे लोगों के लिए अनफेयर कर रहे हो उनकी लाइफ जबरदस्ती? Why are you doing this? Live and let live. You might have different values, I might have different values. The idea is not to respect our values. You might not. The idea is if you do not agree with my values, you also do not have a right to disrespect them. You might be brought up in a different environment, I might be brought up in a different environment. You might have ABC values, मेरे पास 1 to 3 होंगी. हो सकता है शायद से आपकी और मेरी वैल्यू को एक मैच करे. जो वैल्यू मैच नहीं करती, why do you want to discuss upon it? You go your way, I go my way. The issue is when you make a scene out of it and when you make it unfair for the other people, when you don't let them live, when you make them feel that they do not have a choice. Pretty much to somewhat what Ankita ma'am when she was also talking about how she, I think so, what she was talking about in some way or the other. Not exactly, but yeah. So that's pretty much it. There's no happy note of my. The only thing I would say is, अगर 5 साल बाद भी अगर लोग बोलते हैं कि चीजें नहीं बदली और कहते हैं लोग गलत हैं and people do not understand, then irrespective as bad as it might sound, just remember you are a part of they then. You might feel कि नहीं हमने थोड़ी किया कुछ, but as I said again, life is unfair. As simple as that. Thank you so much.
We are so grateful to have such inspiring people here among us. Over to you, Khushi ma'am.
Thank you, Diksha. So firstly, I would like to thank all the guest speakers present here and enlightening us on variety of different stratas on the same topic, be it the 5x5 rule or the media representation or policy, and even, sharing personal experiences, Ankita ma'am. Everything means a lot to us because it provided us a kind of field to think on. Now we'll be opening the forum for discussion from the end of audience. Before that, I'll be sharing few of the rules and procedures that need to be kept in mind. Firstly, participants need to raise their hand in case they want to seek recognition once asked to do so. They'll be getting a time span of 3 minutes maximum. No personal attacks or comments on the experiences and the views of other speakers. You are requested to share your experiences, and in case you are sharing experiences of another person, then you should have consent. No statement against a particular caste, religion, gender, or a particular set of group would be allowed in this forum. So now I would request the participants who wish to speak on the same very topic to raise their hand.
Yeah, go ahead, Kunika. Kunika ma'am, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, one and all. So, we are having this discussion on the occasion of Malala Day. So, what I would like to, try to present in a very concise, non confusing way is that how empowering women in work will lead to better representation, and that better representation will lead to better addressal of problems that women have. So let's see it from the perspective of, say, our legislature. In class 9th, we heard this that 33% of seats were to be reserved for women, and this bill has still not passed in parliament. And I asked my teacher why, and he had no answer. And I think this is the crux of the problem, that there are so many questions, there are so many inequalities, but And every time you try to ask why, there won't be an answer, because the answer is simple. It is so deep rooted in our society, it is so patriarchal, and it is so imbibed in our minds that it is becoming a way of life. Patriarchy, whether we like it or not, is a way of life in India, and we try to protect that in the name of protecting traditions. But I don't think that my country promotes traditions that will belittle anyone. Okay, now to give an example of how important representation is, um, there is a picture that hangs in the Oval Office, in the White House, that is of a small boy touching Barack Obama's hair to see if the president has the same hair as he does. That is what representation does. That is what representation of Barack Obama, a black person as a president, did for all the black people of America. I am so sorry, I do not have a female example for this, but that is what representation does. That gave hope to every black kid that one day I can be there in that seat of power. And there is a very famous term in the work life, the highest class ceiling. What is the highest class ceiling? Is the president of the United States. No woman has ever been the president of the United States. We've had one female president, and we've had one female prime minister, and both of them were dynamic women. Now, what it did, I don't know if it did for anybody else. What it did for me was I could see myself in those positions of power. I could see other women taking up those positions of power and getting better represented. Now, there is a documentary on Netflix called Explained. It's a partnership between Vox and Explain, and the first episode of that is why are women paid less. I would highly recommend to watch it. It is really good. It's really detailed. I cannot even level up to that, the level they have given up. There is Hillary Clinton. There are a lot of women, and it is narrated by Rachel McAdams, and it explains how motherhood becomes an obstacle. It is not supposed to be an obstacle, it's supposed to be a feat in women's life. But when it comes to working women, how it becomes an obstacle, and how we expect women to have this have it all mentality, to have their work life in place, to have their, you know, to have their home life in place. The next thing we need to do really urgently is to respect women's choices. I want my choice to have a high empowering job to be respected the same as has been my mother's choice to be a housewife, because it is same way respectable. We do need to stop putting down domestic work as belittled or small. It is not belittled or small just because it has no financial values in our eyes. It has a lot more value than that. It has ethical value, it has social values, but we do not respect that. We see women who work in houses as women who are housemates. It's not that. It has never been that. So we need to stop doing it. And what Malala Yousafzai did for all of us is, and that she has a story. Every time a woman comes up and tells her story, we become a better and interesting place. She had the story of all the women and all the girls who wanted to seek their right to education, not only in Pakistan, but all over the world. And after the pandemic, it has been seen that a lot of people have been dropping out. A lot of children have been dropping out of schools. And I have not read the statistics, but I know that it would be disproportionate. More girls would be dropping out than boys, because parents, those who will not have that much substantial income to support all their children, would prefer to spend their money on their boys. And it is not rocket science. It is not rocket science, because a girl's ultimate aim is not seen to have a high empowering job. You don't even need a high empowering job. You need a job that you will enjoy, something that will fulfill you. It doesn't have to be the CEO of a company. If it is, great. Whatever it is, if you want to sit and write in your room, do that. If you want to just sit and paint in your room and let be that your passion, do that. And these choices need to be respected. The thing is that financial security and economic independence have become the key for unlocking a lot of opportunities for women, because most of the women depend on men for their financial sustenance, and that is why jobs are important. And what does representation of women in, the private sector or the public sector will do is, it will open up a lot of conversations which are not open yet. A high paying maternity leave, a required maternity leave, and obviously a paternity leave. There is a country in Western Europe, I do not know the names, I will not say it because I do not know it yet, but they have paternity leave as well. So, what it does is, it does give the sense that Both the mother and the father are part of the rearing of a child. It is not the mother's sole responsibility, it is a father's responsibility as well. And menstrual leave, that is something not many people discuss. That is not something that most corporate companies or even public sector undertakings give, but it should be given. And this can come through access to education. Education is empowerment. The more educated women are, the more they know about the stereotypes and the discrimination happening against them, the more they will raise their voice. I read an article recently, it was an editorial in the Hindu, that said that in South Asia the access to technology is disproportionate. Girls do not get access to, using technology or mobile phones. It's primarily the men in the house. And the reason for it was given that girls start questioning the patriarchal methods once they get access to that technology, because they become empowered, they become educated. So education is empowerment, and that empowerment will lead to, a better understanding of what we want from our lives. We will spend most of our lives doing our job, doing that productive work that we want to do. And it's a capitalist society, so productivity is, seen as the key for everything. It should not be toxic productivity, but yes, productivity is seen as the key for everything. So that awareness about what I want from my life is required, and it can only come through education and equal access to education. I've seen many people say that equality is not possible. It's a utopian phenomenon. You can't really achieve it. We can. We really can. And the only way to do that is to have both men and women not only become a part of the conversation, but to become a part of the solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Samarth sir, next you can go.
Thank you for recognizing me. So, good evening, so everyone. So, this is Samarth, and I would like to start with the famous quote of Bruno Mars: "A strong woman is the one who raises other women instead of tearing them down." Razia Sultan was very wise, brilliant administrator. Um, she was a brilliant ruler of Delhi, and she was really brave, in spite of the fact that her rule was just for a time of just 3 years only. But the things that she did were were uh, were really great. And Razia Sultan's tomb, that is located uh, in Delhi, it is one of those spots which recollects the memory of this courageous women. Okay, so in this changing world, where the women of the world, um, they are becoming cognizant about their rights, but still we get to see women discriminated in varied places. When men and women will work together, then this will surely result uh, in the development of the country. But but what we get to see, it is more number of men working than women. Women fear to join workplace because they feel that they can be exposed to discrimination. Also, the society does not give that much freedom to females to work. Like, for example, uh, when a girl it is born, after 10 years um, of her birth, she is taught to bake chapatis and and different uh, dishes. Um, so people think that uh, people think that what can a girl do, but they are unaware of the girls capabilities. Women will need to be skilled, uh, mobile and tech savvy to to adapt to the new world of work. They should be given flexibility in working hours. We should also close the pay gap. Safety measures should also be implemented by the government, and stringent laws should be made to protect the dignity of the females. So we must uh, encourage the women. At last, I would like to say, one woman can make a difference, but together they can rock the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, who want to go? Please raise your hand. Yeah, Aditya, sir, go ahead.
So, can you just tell me if my voice is audible or not?
Yeah, you are perfectly audible.
Thank you so much, Diksha. Hello, guys. My name is Aditya, and my pronouns are he and him. I'm currently preparing for my entrances, and there's just a little bit of instance that happened when I was preparing for my entrance yesterday. Came across a fact that whenever we are reading about our modern history, whenever we are reading about how the Indian National Congress formed, how the ministry works for that matter of fact, there was always this one point that kept popping was first woman president, first woman president, and that thing really made to question me why are we not taught about the first male president? Because simple as that matter of fact soundly, वुमेन की रिप्रेजेंटेशन हमेशा ही इतनी कम रही है कि हमें फर्स्ट बताना पड़ जाता है. Till this date, uh, uh, our only woman president has been Indira. Prime Minister has been Indira Gandhi, and we have always been taught about the first woman financial minister, first woman CEO of this particular company. Was this that really comes from our education itself? For that matter of fact, I have my friends. Let's just say I have X. That this female friend of mine is X. In this century, even in this time also, parents told her that अगर तेरे 90% से ज्यादा नहीं आए तो हम तेरी शादी करवा देंगे. That was a little heartbreaking moment for me because even after being in the 21st century, our girls are being told this that और हमेशा ही बात जैसे समर्थ ने कहा कि हमेशा लड़कियों को कहा जाता है कि रोटी बनाना सीख लो. Why boys not taught about that? I am thankful for my mom to teach me all of that. I know more of the house chores than my sister, and I'm really proud of her for doing that, for indulging me, for making me indulge into house chores. And we, as a society, have taken these things very normally. Whenever we see memes about girls not being allowed, एक meme भी चला था बीच में, if I'm not wrong, 2 to 4 years back, that अगर लड़की फेल हो जाती है तो उसकी शादी करवा देते हैं, लड़का फेल हो जाता है तो उसको ड्यूरेशन देके यूनिवर्सिटी में एडमिशन करवा देते हैं. एंड these things really seem comical at the very first time. मेरे को भी comical लगा था, मैं भी हंसा था. But when we tend to think upon these lines, we tend to see where the differences, where the problems lie, and it goes beyond that also. Uh, I don't want to share this. This is a very thoda sa touchy moment, but my mother was not being. मेरे पापा ने मना कर दिया था to do a job after the marriage. The question that was raised in my head was why did she need to ask about him, whether she can get a job or not. It's her life. Why does she need to ask for approval when my father did it? मैं जॉब कर दी शादी के बाद. So that the problem lies in the very much at the very synapses, if I can say that. And if things started getting better at those points itself, now my society can do much better. In my class also, I have always been the second behind behind a girl who was always a topper. Every time. If I was third, she was second. If I was fourth, she was third. And I was really proud of it because that girl is currently my best friend as well. And I was really proud of her for doing that. And yes, I hope ki our society do change, and if you do have a chance of getting that my friend X has always said that if I am gonna have if I am gonna have a child, and if she is get to be a girl, trust me, मैं अपने पेरेंट्स अच्छा जॉब करके दिखाऊंगी. And I so wish कि उसकी गर्ल हो यार. क्या क्या ही था ट्रेंड. So yeah, that's that, and thank you so much for recognizing me.
Thank you, sir. Next, who want to go? Yeah, Preeti ma'am, you want to say?
I'm just going to build up about what Aditya just said. Just a second, why is my video not here? How you said that that your friends potentially going to do a better job than your parents. I feel that our parents have done way better jobs than their parents. So this is a change, and like I know that my mom wasn't allowed to study, but she is now, pressurizing me to do a PhD says a lot. Now we have learned a lot of things. Like while growing up, I realized that education, ठीक है, but following your passion is also equally important. This was not there when our parents were growing up. So now that we know that these are the changes that have happened, yes, we'll do a better job than our parents, but we should also acknowledge the fact that our parents have done a better job than their parents. And let's say we're what, 12 people over here. अगर हम 12 लोग भी जाके कल को we raise our kids differently, we tell them that okay, these are the gender dynamics, put a gender lens to everything, and then have a better thought process. If we change the way our relatives think, the way our friends think, I think that could make a much more impact. Varna, in the next 10 years, as others said, we'll keep talking ki bhai ye to hua hi nahi, and things will be unfair itself.
Next, who want to go? Please raise your hand.
Okay, I'll go up with that. So if I talk about this topic, then I personally relate to it a lot because I am, starting my work journey, to be precise, amidst the COVID time, and it's like I am in between of studying and working, trying to find a job, internship to be precise, or finding my own work career to be precise, be it storytelling or poetry. And if when I see the representation of women there, it's increasing day by day without a fail, without a doubt. Again, others sirs that 5 by 5 rule from last, if I compare it from the stats that was present 5 years back and the stats that are present now, there is a significant change. There is a significant improvement in everything. But the point is, when I say women and the job, the first thing that we as people, not everyone, but we as people, tend to perspectivize it as a girl working inside kitchen, or a girl as a nurse. When I say someone to draw a nurse, it will never be a male person being drawn, it's always a girl being drawn there. When I say a doctor, it would never be a female doctor, it will always be a male doctor being drawn on a sheet of paper. And it's something that's a kind of schema that has been instilled in our mindset. When I study psychology, I have read about so many psychologists, and only one female psychologist, to be precise, who was actually working on something and was being hated by everyone just because she was presenting a perspective that was not very usual for everyone. Similarly, if I talk about now, the work is changing, the world is changing, women are also changing with the kind of adaptability and perspectives they're bringing in upon with themselves. But if we pay a focus on more than women, I'm proud to say that all other genders to be precise, if I talk about only males being a representation in the proper strata and senses, their mindset is also changing. Like it's just wrong to say that, to blame the society that we are not changing, or to any particular gender that we are not changing, because definitely there has been a change, and particularly in the mindset of all other genders apart from us. Because now it's like when they'll realize it, they'll try to bring in a change. And we know, and I know that many females say that it's our fight, let us fight. But the point is, आप अकेले जब तक लड़ोगे और अगर आप रेस में अकेले भागोगे, there is no point. So when you are in it together, and when you try to make that work environment yours, and particularly benefited for everyone, this is what is happening. And both those perspectives, where women are marginalized and where women are growing, are very necessary to be discussed in this forum also, and in any other forum where the condition or the particular percentage of work ratio is being discussed. So this is what I feel.
Thank you, Kushi ma'am, for expressing your views. Aditya saw.
I think I would love to hear others stuff before we, if we can go.
Aditya, you can.
Thank you so much, Aditya. I would just want to talk about what Khushi said. I think so. She said something very beautiful, which often we fail to acknowledge, that भली चीजें are not all good abhi, but in comparison to what things were before, 5 years before, and how things are now, even though there might be a small change, but there is a change. And I think so often we fail to acknowledge कि इतना सारा मतलब चीजें हैं कि हाँ तुम्हारे पास पहले तुम्हारे पास 10 ट्रॉफी थी, और अब कहते हैं हाँ 5 साल पहले तुम्हारे पास सिर्फ 2 ट्रॉफीज थी और अब तुम्हारे पास 10 ट्रॉफी है, तो तुम एक्नॉलेज करना ही भूल गए कि हाँ ओ माय गॉड 2 से 8 2 से 10 तो हुई, वैसे 10 से 12 होने चाहिए, तो छोटी चेंज की बात कर रहे हैं, बट हाँ ठीक है, और you get the point, right? So I personally feel really grateful that whenever we talk about such things, so the idea is यहाँ पे इस सेशन के आने के पहले भी आप अवेयर थे, राइट, अबाउट अ फ्यू थिंग्स, सेशन के आने के बाद भी आप अवेयर हैं कुछ चीजों के बारे में, हो सकता है यू डिड नॉट नो अ फ्यू थिंग्स, यू गॉट मोर अवेयर, ऐसा नहीं था कि कहते हैं हाउएवर दैट यू वर ब्लैंक, I personally feel so. If that was the case, you still got to learn. How the idea is at this particular point, I feel the world is somewhere or the other fixated on making people who are aware more aware, right? The people who need to be told this, I often feel कि उनके साथ जब तक ये चीजें कन्वे नहीं होंगी, वी आर स्टक समवेयर द अदर, व्हिच आई फील कि हो रहा है धीरे धीरे, एंड दैट इज द रीजन आई really felt nice what Khushi said कि there is a little change. So the change which I really कहते हैं thought about was how जो लोग बिल्कुल भी अवेयर नहीं है, बिल्कुल भी, जिनके पास इंटरनेट का एक्सेस नहीं है, यार यू हैव एक्सेस टू इंटरनेट, यू क्रेव अबाउट अटेंडिंग क्लासेस, देयर आर प्लेसेस जहाँ पे इंटरनेट का एक्सेस ही नहीं है, जहाँ पे लैपटॉप्स नहीं है, जहाँ पे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स नहीं है. हाउएवर आई फील रियली ग्रेटफुल where I know a ton of people who have took it upon themselves because they can, because let's be very honest, just because तुम जाके पढ़ाना चाहते हो does not mean you'll get an opportunity, right? जब आना होगा तो आएगा. However, I know a ton of people who have actually took it upon themselves and going to places and talking about such stuff, जिसके बारे में शायद से पहले बातें नहीं होती थी, तो definitely it stuck a lot with me what Khushi said. That is something which I and even I believe so Priyansh sir wish to do, going to places जहाँ पे बहुत सारी चीजों के बारे में बात नहीं होती, डेफिनेटली इसके बारे में बात नहीं होती, बिकॉज तुम्हें पता है यार, बिकॉज तुम लोग देख रहे हो नेट पे, हर रोज देख रहे हो, you have an access to a bunch of things, a bunch of information, and then you make your opinions. The issue is बहुत जगहों पे जो है ना, वो जो information है वो सिर्फ stick हो जाती है to what the people around you think, बिकॉज लोगों को लगता है कि जो आसपास उनके लोग सोच रहे हैं बस वहीं तक सीमित है, दैट इज द होल वर्ल्ड, कि हाँ हमारे आसपास वाले लोग सोच रहे हैं कि कहते हैं टमेटो इज अ वेजिटेबल, तो हम भी यही मानेंगे कि टमाटर इज अ वेजिटेबल एंड नॉट टमाटर, टमेटो whatever you want to say, right? It's not a fruit, it's a fruit if I'm not wrong, right? So the whole idea is this, because you're stuck in that one zone. So yeah, definitely very beautiful point said by Khushi. Yeah, I just wanted to कहते हैं build upon that. Thank you.
Aditya sir, you can go ahead. Also, thank you, others.
So, as I was hearing Kushi and others before, it really made me do think, and Preeti ma'am for that matter of fact also, it really made me think as well that change has always been there and change has been there. My mother My mother is the most educated person in our home right now. She is double B.Ed. उन्होंने हिंदी संस्कृत दोनों में B.Ed कर रखी है. And she is constantly forcing my sister to do MBA as well, to do study more. And because मेरे घर वालों को मेरे से or I don't know why my घर वाले has more expectations from my sister than me, because obviously, and it has really made me change. And as I have always been taught to have a neutral perspective to everything, to have a balanced approach to everything, it is really great that our society has been changed. Our parents have evolved better throughout the time. My sister has more freedom than me in my house. Makes sense. And I'm really proud of my parents for doing that. Uh, as Kushi told that whenever we are talking about a nurse, whenever we talk about teacher, there's this image in our head that forms of a girl and not of a male. The same thing as I was thinking earlier before the session started, like I was giving it a thought yesterday itself. Whenever we talk about leaders, there's always this male imagery in our head that has been formed. Why it has been so? Because हमें बचपन से गांधी जी, जवाहरलाल नेहरू, we have been taught about these kind of leaders that has always been more of the male dominated part. On the Malala Yousafzai, I wasn't aware that today is the Malala Yousafzai, and we always learn. We always wake up and learn a little bit. And I'm thankful for knowing it as that today is Malala Yousafzai. And if we could have been taught about more of the women leaders in our earlier ages of life, I think that would have made a change some point at the other in our lives. If we could have taught more about how Indira Gandhi became the first financial minister of India, how was her struggles and not the whole India's independence only. I think that could have also helped in the thoda sa reformation in the society. But I hope, as Preeti said, that change will be there. Change has been there. So I hope change will be there in the future as well. And it's not just about how things have been bad. Things have also evolved in the same sense. And yes, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. So, anyone has to speak?
I would just want to jump in right in quick and mention something. If you could just acknowledge Aditya, the way I think so. I've never seen anyone talk so happily about how they don't know about things, and this is exactly the kind of a crowd I would want to be in. The kind of people I would want to interact with, who are happy about things they don't know and openly accept them, and then are open to get their learning, open to knowing that yes. There are things that they're not aware about, as I said. So definitely, I just wanted to acknowledge that he's just been real happy throughout, real cute throughout this conversation, and that has just brought like made me get switch on my camera again and again. So yeah, kudos to Aditya.
Yeah, Shreya ma'am, you can go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, अभी तक मैं conference में थी, and I have heard a lot of points and I respect all of them. People have been amazing saying their points, and now I would like to keep my own opinions. So, I would like to start off from a quote. So, I raise up my voice, not so that I can shout, but so that without a voice, I can't be heard. So, to be honest, आप लोगों ने जैसे कहा कि 5 years में comparatively we have seen a much bigger difference in the working arena for women and in every aspect for women. To be honest, for me, I personally believe the 21st century in which we are living in has given women many economical opportunities and a stage to voice their opinions which weren't present before. And I can't imagine how much pressure it would have been for those women who have paved such a path for us, and I'll be forever grateful to them personally. Presently coming on the working women in this changing modern world ka topic, I believe countries have certainly realized worldwide that if they need an economic or social boost up, They need educated, independent and working women. And यार इसके बिना क्या होगा, मतलब चाहिए ही चाहिए, it has become a necessity. Then why are we lacking up, or in a better statement, covering up the actual reality of women empowerment and stability which we are showing to the people? The women, they haven't been getting what they deserve. What areas do women represent in the countries? Half of the time it's highly domestic labor, unpaid work and low productivity jobs. अगर ये economic empowerment होती है, नहीं चाहिए मुझे ऐसी economic empowerment, भाई देख लो. The harsh truth is that we are still lagging behind in providing millions of women their rightful access to jobs. And we don't need a job by status, namesake le nahi, a job that has security, our rightful salary, and assurance that the women's safety laws will be followed. Um, I would like to start with, my own experience. Firstly, I would like to put the statement that if this is like the normal thing which I'm talking about, what women do usually in countries, and the women who are having a, particular proper job in companies or in businesses, they are also facing issues of discriminatory payments, poor working conditions, and majorly sexual harassment. And I would like to share my personal experience on this one. So basically, I am 16, and for my ninth, I used to go to apartment which was kind of far away from my home, and I used to take a bus for that purpose. And so this bus had two sections, one for women and one for men, and I was really really happy about it because it was concerning our safety. And one day what happened was the bus got highly filled and everybody got congested, and a man came and touched my inner thigh. And it was, it was, even though it was for a sec, it is very very sensitive for me. Even though it was for a sec, I was flushed, I was disgusted, I was scared, and everything was like I was shaking. And I'm not ashamed to say about this particular incident of mine in my life, because it was not my fault. It was not my fault, and it was never my fault क्योंकि मैंने नहीं मांगा था. And that is what made me think that अगर मैं अभी अपनी education pursue कर रही हूँ and ये हालत है, when I work as a working woman, then what will I have to face? We are not really getting any assurance of proper working safe conditions. Moving on, when we want better laws, when we want changes in women law, we always look up to the two houses of our parliament. Not coming into the political sensitive issues, I want to refrain from saying certain examples, but I hope all of you know that there have been certain cases where the women in the parliamentary houses, both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, have been discriminated and harassed. It's not, ये कोई छुपाने की बात नहीं है, everybody knows this. अगर हमारे लॉ मेकिंग वाले लोग खुद ऐसी हरकतें कर रहे हैं, तो whom will we look up to? That is what the reality is. We can't even look up to the government, the own Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha of India, for better laws. And I believe agar this is हमारा deserving result after putting so much focus in our studies and for being a successful working women, मैं इतने एफर्ट्स डालना ही नहीं चाहती अगर हमें ऐसे रिजल्ट्स मिलते हैं. दिस इज नॉट एट ऑल फ्रूटफुल, दिस इज नॉट एट ऑल सेफ, and this doesn't give me any hopes of having a better future now. This is the high time where people should realize कि दिखाने और बोलना is a very different thing to actually work upon. We have to start actually work in the best way possible without being a misogynistic and patriarchal system which like the whole, like all the countries have been worldwide. We have to make each and every step for working women actually effective and smooth. If this type of working environment continues for women, ek time aayega when the most brilliant women who have potential won't really believe in the system and won't contribute their peace of mind in the progress. क्योंकि हम लोग डरेंगे उस चीज से, क्योंकि there haven't been lot of examples जहां हम believe कर सके अपने system को. And if the government worldwide or the male dominated society of ours can't make a change, I plea, bhai, side hato. Let us step in. I'll let the women take matters in their hand. Let them have their right. And you will see the needed representation. I think women know their rights and they know they have a voice, and we can also make noise. But these issues of less representation, discrimination, inequality will not be clearly solved with only the female population. The mayors have to come up as a supporting system so that, particularly women can also know that hum akele nahi hai. We have a base, we have people who are supporting us constantly. Hum is fight mein akele nahi hai because we are fighting for a rightful cause. And that will be it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya, for sharing your opinions and sharing your personal incident with us. Anyone want to speak? Like, raise your hand. So I think it's over. Like, we have witnessed so many moving opinions today that it's difficult to leave this here, but this party must go on. Speaking of a party, let's get some music on with a very talented musician, singer, Ritvik Sikka sir. Ritvik sir.
Yes, hi guys. Yes, I'm right here. Hi guys, how are you all? I mean, it was like it's been just 5 minutes and I was here and I was listening to Shreya talk. And first of all, more power to you, Shreya. And I don't know what the discussion was all about since I'm a latecomer, but I'm pretty sure that it went pretty well. I could figure out that it was something related to issues, certain issues that people are facing in today's world, and I'm glad that you guys are discussing it all out. So that's that. But I'm not here to add on to those issues. I'm just here to free your mind away because that's my job. So yeah. And since it's just it's how many of you are here? It's just the 11 of you who are here. So like, I hope that you guys can request songs in the chat box because that's what I do to interact. So if anybody on you is on YouTube as well and there are any particular suggestions or requests in the chat there, then please let me know. Right. So that's that. I'll just begin then. Okay. So. यादों के पुराने एल्बम में छुपा के रखे हैं हमने वो दिन, गुल्लक में पड़ी चवन्नी सी बचा के रखे हैं हमने वो दिन, ना किसी मंजिल की फिक्र थी, जिंदगी जीने की उम्र थी, दोस्ती और दोस्तों से उधार के दिन थे, वो दिन भी क्या दिन थे, वो दिन भी क्या दिन थे। बन्नो मेरी चली ससुराल खो, अखियों में पानी दे गई, दुआ में मीठी गुड़ धानी दे गई, हाय रे बन्नो मेरी चली ससुराल खो, अखियों में पानी दे गई, दुआ में मीठी गुड़ धानी दे गई, रे कबीरा मान जा, रे फकीरा यूं न जा, आजा तुझ
तुझको पुकारे तेरी परछाइयाँ कबीरा मान जा ए फकीरा यूं ना जा कैसा तू है निर्मोही कैसा हर जाइया हाँ मैं गुमसुम हूँ इन राहों की तरह तेरे ख्वाबों में तेरी ख्वाहिशों में छुपा ना जाने क्यों है ये रोज का सिलसिला तू रूह की है दास्तां तेरी जुल्फों की ये नमी तेरी आँखों का ये समा यहाँ खो भी जाऊं तो मैं क्या कसूर है मेरा खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ खो गए हम कहाँ रंगों सा ये जहाँ टेढ़े मेढ़े रास्ते हैं जादुई मारते हैं मैं भी हूँ तू भी है यहाँ खोई सोई सड़कों पे सितारों के कंधों पे हम नाचते उड़ते हैं यहाँ तू 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 इन दिनों दिल मेरा मुझसे है कह रहा तू ख्वाब सजा तू जी ले जरा है तुझे भी इजाजत कर ले तू भी मोहब्बत है तुझे भी इजाजत कर ले तू भी मोहब्बत फिर ले आया दिल मजबूर क्या कीजिए रास न आया रहना दूर क्या कीजिए दिल कह रहा है उसे मुकम्मल कर भी आओ वो जो अधूरी सी बात बाकी है वो जो अधूरी सी याद बाकी है, वो जो अधूरी सी बात बाकी है, करते हैं हम आज को भूल क्या कीजिए, हो गई थी जो हमसे भूल क्या कीजिए, दिल कह रहा उसे मैं सिर कर भी आओ, वो जो दबी सी आस बाकी है, वो जो अधूरी सी बात बाकी है, वो जो अधूरी सी याद बाकी है। मैं रंग शरबतों का, तू मीठे घाट का पानी, मैं रंग शरबतों का, तू मीठे घाट का पानी, मुझे खुद में घोल दे तो मेरे यार बात बन जानी, रंग शरबतों का, तू मीठे घाट का पानी, मैं रंग शरबतों का, तू मीठे घाट का पानी। हो महफिल में तेरी हम ना रहे जो गम तो नहीं है, गम तो नहीं है, किससे हमारे नजदीकियों के कम तो नहीं है, कम तो नहीं है, कितनी दफा सुबह को मेरी तेरे आंगन में बैठे मैंने शाम किया, अच्छा चलता हूँ दुआओं में याद रखना, मेरे जिक्र का जुबां पे सुहाग रखना, दिल के संदूकों में मेरे अच्छे काम रखना, चिट्ठी तारों में भी मेरा तू सलाम रखना, अंधेरा तेरा मैंने ले लिया, मेरा उजला सितारा तेरे नाम किया, चन्ना मेरे आ चन्ना मेरे आ चन्ना मेरे आ बेलिया, ओ पिया चन्ना मेरे आ चन्ना मेरे आ चन्ना मेरे आ बेलिया, ओ पिया हो पिया पिया ओ पिया, ओ पिया। चंदा मेरे चंदा तुझे कैसे मैं ये समझाऊं, मुझे लगती है तू कितनी प्यारी रे, हो खुशियाँ वे खुशियाँ सब ढूंढ ढूंढ के लाऊं, तेरी डोली के संग भर दूं सारी रे।
So I guess that was it. Oh, acha. Hi, Shaurya sir. How are you? Okay, so we are gonna end with the one song that Shaurya loves the most. So this is gonna be the last song, and this one is my self-composition. The song wasn't written by me, but was composed by me, and the name of the song is Nindya. So I hope you guys like
Oh,
it.
your voice is not coming.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Just a second. Yeah, I hope I'm audible. Right. Okay. So this is going to be the last song for the evening, and this is my self composition. This song wasn't written by me, but I composed this song, and the name of the song is Nindya. So I hope you guys like this as well.
निंदिया आ जाना निंदिया आ जाना ढल गया है दिन आ गई शाम ढूंढूं तुझको कहाँ ना तेरा पता निंदिया आ जाना हाँ थक गई आंखें मेरी हाँ थक गया है दिल मेरा तू साथ है क्या बात है तारों से भरी ये रात है तू थाम ले ये हाथ ये बढ़ा दे तू नूर मेरा तू गम भी है और है खुशी कब तक रहेगी यूं खफा तो निंदिया आ जाना
So that was India, guys. Thank you for having me here. I hope each one of you enjoyed my set. If you did, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @music by Ritvik. So you can follow me for my music up there. And thank you so much, Gala, for inviting me here. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ritvik sir, for joining us. The groups is still in the air. This has been a wonderful evening, and it's now come to an end. We look forward to have these brilliant minds with us in the future also, and have a great one. We'll meet in another event. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having all of us, Gallop, and it was a great experience to be here and speak about the issue. You did a great job organizing this whole thing, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya sir. It was great having you also. Yes. इवेंट अच्छे से हो गया हर्षित और ये अपने हैं शायद से
सेकंड आंसर मैम है यहाँ पे ओके